I'm very excited to talk to you today because a lot of what I talk about are the sneaky ways that we self-sabotage ourselves, and we need to talk about the ways that we hold ourselves back in the name of self-improvement. Now, self-improvement may be keeping you stuck and it may be holding you back at this stage, and I want to talk about why, and I want to explore this. This is something that I personally went through. It might be something that you're going through right now, or maybe you're just confused. You're wondering why all your time in self-improvement content is not actually helping you. It's not moving your life forward. In fact, maybe your life hasn't really changed that much. You might say, oh, my mindset's changed. But at some point, action creates our life and transforms it. That it is what happens at some point. If your mind is truly changed, your actions change. So I want to talk about how self-improvement has almost become like this new version of Netflix. We all know the ways that there are really two routes you can take when you're faced with challenges or you're faced with difficulty in life. You can distract yourself, or you can kind of grow and try to move through it. So classic distractions might be doing drugs, drinking too much, partying too much, dating people that you don't like, getting yourself in crazy wild situations. These are obvious distractions. Now, the distractions that aren't as obvious, that are sneakier, they kind of mask themselves as looking like they might be helpful for your life. So self-improvement being a huge one. Billion-dollar industry, also, by the way, incredible industry, changed so many people's lives, super helpful. There's a time and a place for it, but at some point you might be graduated past self-improvement. Now, the reason the self-improvement distraction cycle is so sneaky and interesting is because it's almost like a new version of Netflix. With Netflix, you know how you can watch it for hours, you don't really feel good about it after a certain amount of time, and you know that you're just distracting yourself. Self-improvement content can be the same thing. It's almost like this addictive cycle where if you take in enough information and you read enough books, watch enough videos, take enough courses, that you're getting somewhere in your life. And to some extent you are. You might be moving it forward, you might be taking in new ideas, they're changing your perspective, and that's amazing. And that's the incredible thing about self-improvement, is it really does work. It's changed many people's lives. But then at some point, you've kind of taken in all of the information and you're sort of ready to graduate this stage and maybe take it in a little less frequently, maybe move on to something else, but you're stuck in this addictive loop because you think that you're moving your life forward, but you might not be. I think it sometimes feels like self-improvement can band-aid something that you feel like you're missing, but the truth is the only way to scratch that itch that you have for something more is to do what you most want to do. That is the only way that you will actually move your life forward and improve your life. And a lot of this conversation is coming from because I was out with my friend at dinner the other night, and she was telling me how she tries to stay busy and do all the right things. She works full time. She's got a great job. She studies up and reads up on how to invest her money. She's learning a new language. She's taking tennis lessons. She's doing all these different things that feel productive. And to be fair, none of these things are bad. So to say that these things are self-sabotage, almost feel like, what are you talking about? You know, she's just living her life. But I know her. I know that there's something that she really wants to be doing. And instead of doing it, she's taking all of these productive things and using it as a placeholder. But the truth is, it will never itch the scratch of what you most want to do. I think my other big thing with self-improvement content is it kind of keeps you in this loop that you always need to be changing yourself, not improving yourself, because naturally you will improve and grow in life and through life experiences. But I think the idea that you need to be more confident before you start doing something, that you need to get your mindset right, that you need to get all these different things right. There is, of course, some truth to it. There's a lot of truth to it. There's a lot of growth that happens just in the doing and the becoming. And the truth is, the becoming happens in the doing. If you stay stuck in this preparation, fix-it stage where you need to read one more book to become more confident, you need to take one more course to have enough knowledge to do something that someone else is doing with a lot less knowledge than you are holding yourself back at that point. And I think the easiest way for me to communicate this would be through my own personal experience. I'm someone that has been deep down the self-improvement rabbit hole, loved it for a long time, and for the last couple of years probably could have done without it in certain ways. I think at some point you know when you're ready to move forward, and also when you're taking in a ton of information, almost like it's all funneling through. You've got all this information and energy coming your way, but you're not expressing it in whatever way that you want to express it. And by expressing, I really mean doing the thing that is kind of weighing on your heart that you feel this pull towards, that you feel like maybe was always meant for you, if you're not doing that thing and using this energy to kind of push that forward, it sort of actually builds up as like a pressure, like almost like there's something that you need to be doing, but you don't want to actually do what it is you most need to be doing. So you keep taking in information and you have this build up, and it's almost builds up this sense of urgency that you just need to read one more book, even though you've already read 30, or, take one course or whatever it might be. It keeps you in this loop that you really think that there's something about yourself that you need to change before you do what you came here to do. And this doesn't make a lot of sense. And I get it, because again, this is where I was at for a long time. This is something I still probably struggle with a little bit, taking in too much information, overly preparing, whatever it might be. But I think if you're watching this video and this is speaking to you, it might be time to transition from the purely self-improvement content into channeling it and funneling it. And if there's information that you need, it'll be there. If there's a book that you need to read, it'll fall at your feet. Trust that what you need while you're actively living your life and doing what you feel most excited about, it'll come to you naturally. You don't need to be perfect before you start. You don't need to be insanely prepared before you start. You can actually just start just as you are. Maybe there's nothing wrong with you. Maybe there's really nothing to improve. Maybe your biggest improvement will happen from you just going on the journey that you need to go on. Anyway, that's a little bit of my caution that I'm giving on self-improvement content, which is funny because this is probably self-improvement content. But again, it finds you right when it's meant to find you. And if you're over this phase, get out of this video, go live your life, go do your thing, because that's probably, what's next for you. Anyway, that is all for me this week. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon.